Everybody, this is Tawan from Money Travel Grow. I'm here in Tokyo, Japan. I finally made it here. Been a long time coming. I was just in Osaka yesterday and got in last night, and everything went well. So Tokyo can be a very confusing place. Let me just start off by saying as beautiful as it is and as great as it is and how much history and tradition it has, it can also be a very confusing place. So for those of you who plan on coming here, just be prepared, have on some comfortable walking shoes, make sure you stay hydrated, and make sure you have patience and you're not afraid to feel silly sometimes and even to make mistakes, but always be willing to ask for help and listen carefully and follow directions. I think those are the key principles if you want to find success here in Tokyo, Japan. Okay, so the other day I did a video briefly touching on something that I wanted to elaborate more on, because I think there are a lot of people out here who do really want to do this digital nomad thing. They do want to travel a little bit more, and I wanted to just give more of my thoughts and even some of my advice on how you should go about doing that. And I'm going to take it from the approach of if I know what I know now, how would I basically start off? How would I do it? Well, the first thing is, if you live in the United States, whatever country you live in, the very first thing you need to do is make sure you have a passport. And when I say passport, I mean a passport that has more than 6 months of validity up there. Make sure that your passport, I would say, have at least a year or two before the expiration date. So that's the first thing I would say you should definitely do. Passports are fairly easy to acquire, assuming that you don't have any type of criminal record or something that would be stopping you from obtaining one pretty quickly. However, I can tell you right now, at least in the United States, passports have been a bit delayed because they're catching up, I guess, from the last few years with COVID and all. So just keep that in mind, that you may have to wait a little bit longer than you would like to. Okay, having said that, now that you got your passport and you want to do long-term traveling, one of the best things you can do is, of course, get yourself an online job. Now, if you have some business connections and things like that, then be my guest and go ahead and get those clients and do work for them remotely. I had a guy telling me one time, was there anything that you could do non-technical? There are things that you can do non-technical, of course. For example, work in a call center, customer service, things like that. Anything where you have to basically guide, teach, or coach people via, Skype or Microsoft Teams or some other, platform. There's always that opportunity for that. So, but before I leave the United States, wherever you're coming from, I would make sure I'll try to secure a digital marketing job. I know that seems like common sense, but believe it or not, there are a lot of people who come out here with the intent to try to figure it out once they arrive, and I don't think that's a great idea. I think you should probably have that worked out before you leave, just because it gives you a level of assurance. When I first moved to Mexico, I had my digital marketing job lined up, and so I didn't have as many as concerns as I probably would have had I not had that job lined up. The other thing I would say is make sure you have all your paperwork in order. Have photocopies of your license, your passport, anything that's going to be useful information in case you get yourself in a jam. A lot of people ask me the question of, well, how much should you save? Well, that depends on you. That depends on what your intentions are, what your lifestyle is like. I think you can't really go wrong if you have at least $2,000 in the bank for emergencies. However, I realize that not everyone got that. Not everyone has that. Not everyone can wait that long. Some people feel like they just got to go right now. And if that's the case, and have something, put aside, I would really urge you to do that, because, things happen when you're traveling. Unexpected expenses come up. I give you a good example. I'm leaving here on Tuesday, And I had no idea how much trouble it would be to go from Narita Airport to the greater Tokyo area. It took me much longer than I expected yesterday, and thus my thing was, okay, the next time I go, I'm going to take at least 4 or 5 hours to make sure I get here. Well, guess what? Unless I plan on getting up incredibly early on Monday, because my flight is at 9, I will be in a bad situation trying to get there and be rushed and all that stuff. So instead, what I'm going to do is just get a hotel close to the airport on Sunday night, stay there, relax, and then around 7, head to the airport because they have an airport shuttle. Now, that expense isn't that much. It's only about 6,000 yen, which is about, I assume, almost about $50 or something like that. So that's not that bad, but that is an unexpected expense that I had to consider. Anyone that travels can tell you about these unexpected expenses that often come up, when you're traveling. It's okay, so you got your passport, you got your remote job, which, like I said, there's another thing about your remote jobs. Everyone wants to get the $60,000, $70,000 job. Hey, you might not be able to do that, but guess what? If you get something that's paying you, say, $15, $16 an hour, you're still ahead of the natives in a lot of countries that you may go to. For example, let's say you decided you want to live in Thailand, or you want to live in Mexico, you want to live in the Philippines. Well, guess what? The people there, average salary is somewhere around $5 to $10 a day. Yes, $5 to $10 a day. So they can survive off of that. Then you can survive off of $16 an hour. You just have to manage your money right and also live within your means. You still can get yourself a very nice place to stay in a lot of these countries between $300 and $400 a month, no problem. So that's what I would do. The next thing I would say you do is make sure that you're looking to get an Airbnb or some other long-term accommodation. I mean, it's okay to spend a night in, say, a hotel for a while, for maybe 1 night or 2 nights, or even a hostel. Hostel will probably be better for a couple of nights. But then after that, you should probably get serious about finding yourself a long-term place, because from a daily perspective, you're gonna save so much more money than you would if you were spending $20, $30 a night. If you get yourself your own place, you're probably only be spending about maybe $10 to $12 a night. If you get something, let's say $300 to $250 a night, whatever the case may be. Just throwing out some numbers there. You can do the math on your own later. So that's the next thing I would probably do. I would research this ahead of time. I wouldn't wait till I get there. So maybe you contact the Airbnb folks, a host, and you say, hey, I'm looking to do something long term. Are you open to that? And if you have that conversation with them about them possibly being open, that may be a person that you can stay there for a long time. But go there first, stay there for a few nights, maybe a week or something like that. And if it's to your liking, then you stay longer. They've already told you that they may be open to the idea of you doing something more on a permanent basis. Matter of fact, that's what I did when I moved to Mexico. I talked to, I didn't know him well then. I talked to my landlord, who's Airbnb host, and I said, look, man, I really like it here. Can we work this out? And he said, give me a couple of days to come up with a fair price. He did, and I stayed there for almost 2 years. So these things happen all the time. The other thing you can do is you can obviously join, Facebook groups, Facebook Marketplace. You can ask around, you can walk around. I mean, there are deals out here to be had. Not everybody is going to necessarily advertise them online. So you definitely can find some great, incredible opportunities out there. And that goes the same thing for freelancing. Now, I talked a little bit about you getting a job, but part of your situation should not just be about getting a job. It should also be about skill building. I talked about this in so many of my videos, getting the skills to pay the bills. And so what you're going to have to basically do is find things that you can ultimately learn kind of quick. And here's a secret tip I'm about to give you that I give some of my coaching clients. If you cannot acquire that skill So maybe you're the type of person like me where I don't learn as well just watching videos. I have to be more hands-on. When you hire someone from another country and you ask them, can you tutor me for a few hours? You know, maybe do 5 to 10 sessions, 5 to 10 hour sessions for, I don't know, let's say $5 or $10, whoever it may be. You know, you find someone like that on Fiverr or, you know, Elance or something like that. And if they agree to do it, now you get to acquire that skill by them explaining. I'll give you a hint. Filipinos speak English. They're very talented. They're articulate. They will be a great source to learn from. Not to say that any other, you know, nationalities would not be, but in my experience, I have found Filipinos to be quite helpful in me learning, you know, different skills because they break it down a little bit better for me. But you're still going to have to look at videos and things like that. But this is if you don't really have a great degree, you know, of understanding and you're not catching it. Maybe just acquire a tutor for a short period of time so you can learn the skills, maybe work on a project together. And this is something that you're going to present in maybe a job interview or pre-job interview, or, you know, after the job interview is over, but you'll have something tangible that you now can say, okay, I built this website. You don't have to necessarily tell them that you got help doing it. You just say, hey, I built it because you did. You had a little assistance, but it's your, it was your project ultimately at the end of the day. And so that's one thing I would definitely submit to you that you do. So you have the job, but continue to get better. Continue, never be satisfied, because there are jobs out there that pay very well. The problem is they can't fill these positions because they don't have the people who can really teach them. That they can fill the positions with, because there aren't a high degree of qualified, skilled people. There are qualified, skilled people in a lot of countries, but they may require a visa. And if the company isn't willing to give them a visa, well, those people in these other countries are basically not qualified. But you, let's say as an American or someone from the West, you have the opportunity to be able to acquire those jobs if you get those skills. So you got the job, you got some skills coming along, and you got your place to stay. The only other thing now is just to go there, experience it, and, you know, make friends and find things that actually work for you, find routines that work for you. And I can't do a video about that right now because it's getting hot out here and I need to go to this museum that I'm about to check out. But I hope those tips were really helpful. And if you have any comments or anything you want to add as far as tips go, something that worked for you, please do me a favor and put them in the comment section below. Also, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, y'all. Bye.